Oh, hello there. Well, I finally appeared. Yes, quick pop-up stream. Not expecting any viewers today. It's a very short stream as well. Just wanted to get a few things done on the old school text adventure. So I decided to do a lunchtime stream. So I'm actually in my lunch hour. So I'm decided to pop up on stream and just do a few minor tweaks to the code of our text adventure. So without any further ado, let's pop across into the code and have a look at what's going on over there. So I had a bit of a disaster with my Visual Studio after the last stream. Actually, I think you might remember if you were there that I had a notification come up saying that that there was an update to Visual Studio, and I applied that update, and it wouldn't boot up afterwards. It wouldn't start Visual Studio afterwards. So I had to do a repair on it, and it kind of wiped all my config and all my extensions out. So I've tried to get us back to where we were on that, and I think we're just about there now. So there's a couple of things that I want to do on this pop-up stream, and the first one is to do with a carry limit, and the second one is about events on items. So it's all about items really. So let's kind of tackle those kind of elements first. So if I go and look at adventure item, you can see we're actually implementing an interface called iAdventure Item here. So we need to go across and have a look at that. Let me go and find that. Here we are, iAdventure Item. Now, so there's two things we need to do. The first one, I want to have items take up space on the adventurer. So my idea is that we're going to limit how many items they can carry, but some items I don't want to have any kind of weight allowance on them, so they will have a zero kind of use. So you can have as many of those as you want. We could have items which take up one kind of unit and 2 units. We might say there's a 10 unit slot or a 10 unit limit or 7 unit limit or whatever. I think we'll choose 10 to start with. And that way we can limit what the adventurer is carrying around. I think that's a good idea. The second thing that I'd like to do is be able to fire off events based upon what items you've got in your inventory. So if you remember on the last stream, we went over to our event manager and we wrote some code which we called lamp processing, and I kind of want this code, especially this here has lamp, to kind of be processed as part of the how can I say it? It's part of the item itself. I'm not 100% sure it's the right thing yet, though, which is one of the problems. So when you start having these ideas, so the lamp needs to kind of run down in its its batteries. Now we've already set it up so if you drop the lamp, it switches off. So that's good. So only if it's switched on, and you're actually carrying it in your inventory, will this event fire. So I think this, because it's something to do with lamps, it really kind of belongs on the lamp item itself. And if we give that idea of having events which live on items, then we get kind of a more generic way of processing events, and we can put events on other items, and we don't kind of grow this method into some kind of a huge, humongous monster method when we do check for events. So we'll do both of those changes, I think. So over in iAdventure Item, let's define how many kind of slots, we'll call them slots, int number of slots, we'll call it slots, that an item takes up. So we're going to say that an adventure has only so many slots that can be used to carry items. So we'll define slots, and we'll also now have a method which will be do events, something like that. So what do we take into the event manager? Do we take in just a player? So for lamp we just need the player, so that's fine. So we'll just take a player into our method. And we'll do run event, do event, something like that, eh? So let's do this, copy that down. So this is going to return a bool, they'll say, and it's going to be run events, run item events, yeah, item events. And we're simply going to take in a player for now. So that may change as we figure out how this might apply to something other than a lamp, but that should be sufficient for now. So we need to go to adventure item and actually implement these as well. So we need a public here, so an automatic property, automatic bool, and we're going to call it slots. And we're going to need to have a, what do we call it? Item events. Run item events. So we want something like that. Let's put one of those across, and by default it's actually going to do nothing. So public, and then we're just going to fat arrow that out to true. So that's our initial kind of setup for the base class. Slots. Oh, it does implement slots. What's it going on about? Let's just. There we go. Oh, adventure item slots. So he wants to call it. Why does he want to call it that? That's not what I expected at all. So let's. Oh, it's int. That's why. There we go. So it should be happy now. Okay. So, what we could do with doing is saying that by default, this is going to return 1. So that the default item is going to equals, not that, equals 1. So by default, an item will take up 1 slot on the adventurer's kind of inventory, and we can then just put in the exceptions, and lamp is going to be exception. So let's go to our lamp item, and we're going to say for a lamp, then slots is 0, takes up no space in inventory, because you wear it on your head basically, and yeah, it should be fine, shouldn't it? It just doesn't take hands up and your backpack or whatever, or however we're carrying these items. It's not really defined how we actually meant to lug all this stuff around, but we're assuming there's some kind of haversack or something like that you've got that carries all your items in. But your lamp is on your head. It's not really going to take up space in your hands or on your in your backpack. So there we want to have a we want an implementation of do item event or run item events. So we'll say public let's override bool rather than bool override. I'll keep getting as I'm working with some C++ at the moment, getting kind of the syntax a bit mixed up sometimes, so do excuse that. Run item events. We're going to expect an iAdventure player to go into there. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to rush across to our event manager. So we should be able to pull this code out of here. We don't need the isLamp is null, but we'll just copy it out and pull it over to our lamp, pop it in here, and just return true from there. We actually, the Boolean return values of no use to us in this particular case. so we do need to pass the item in. So my adventure item lamp. Run item events, I'm pretty sure that's what I called it. Oh yes, we need to say our adventure item in there as well. And we need to do that same change over in our over in here. Adventure item. Lamp should be happy now. Can I override inherited member? Not marked virtual. There we go. So need to be public virtual. Again. So lamp should be happy now. So what's going to do when we run item events, we pass in the item itself that we're interested in. It's going to go through all this stuff, and it's going to document the has lamp and it's returned true. So that should be now a case of, rather than doing any of that, we can throw all that away. And what we can say is we can get items like this, and we can say for each carried item in the player's inventory, what we're going to do is say carried item dot run events, run item events. We're going to pass the player in there, and we're going to pass the carried item in there, and we're going to call that item event processing. Okay, so that should be okay. And what we're going to do is stick a breakpoint in here, and we're going to go and run our code. So we'll use a Slack client to actually play the adventure. We don't need to go very far into the adventure to actually test this out, which is always a bonus in this. Okay, so it's Coders Life. Thank you for the follow. Very, very, very a welcome follow. So thank you so much. Have some electric elf hype for your follow. That's fantastic. That's a really brilliant thing. Okay, so we're going to issue the adventure command. So remember, this is running in our bot. This is why you've got alpha bot message just popped up into chat. This bot is attached to Twitch chat. It's also attached to Slack and Discord. So I'm going to run this via my Slack client here, and it's going to run via kind of personal messaging. So I now go into my message stream with the alpha bot. We're in the start of the adventure. We can now go into the building. So if I say go in, we'll enter a building, and if I do a look inside here, you'll see we should. Interesting. Oh, we've hit our breakpoint, so I can just continue from there. Okay, so we're in our brick building. In fact, no, it's okay. We're okay. I'm going to grab the lamp at this point. So I'll do our take all command to get all the items. Continue at that point, and I'm going to light the lamp. Okay, and now I'm going to just go out, and that should really, we should then, because we're moving, and moving is afternoon cup of beardy. Good to see you. Very short pop-up stream today, just during my lunch hour at work, so we shan't be going off very long. So when we move, then the event manager will check for events. So let's just go out, and then we should hit this loop here. Okay, so let's see what we've got in our items. So let's step in. So we've got a key. That's fine. There'll be no items, no events defined for that. There's the lamp. So let's go into the lamp, and we should be able to pass through this code without any issues. So we should be able to now going to decrement the life of the lamp. The battery life has gone down to 329, and then we're going to check if it's going to go dim or not, and it isn't. There we go. I wonder if I just had that an Amazon delivery. I suspect I might have done. So we should be able to continue there. So that seems to have worked really well. So we can come out of this now. Okay. So that's now moved. I've got just a second. I'm just going to hit the be right back. I've got an Amazon delivery. Typically they left it next door, so that's annoying. They didn't bother to wait for me to get to the door, and it's raining and I've got all wet. Okay, so we can remove that breakpoint. So now we've got a nice, we're maintaining the kind of tidiness of this this event manager, but expanding it, the kind of things we can do with it. We've got a number of things in here which do the same thing. So the wandering monster activity kind of thing is all just composed of those kind of that for each loop, and that takes care of all of our monster activity, our wandering monsters. And now we've got event processing and individual items. So who knows what we can add in the future, but we've got our lamp that goes dim. So the other thing we were looking at was having the lamp, having a limit on what we can carry. So let's go and have a look at that. So that'll be in the take command. So let's have a look at the take command. So we were expanding our take command last time with a take all, which is going to complicate our processing somewhat. So let's have a look. So we've got our current location. Okay. So we do need to go and look at some other things. So I think the bird is carried inside a cage. Yes, Cody Beard, it's just a pop-up stream during my lunch hour, just to get a few things done before, because on Monday we've got a different stream. On Monday I've got Morton, or aka Fuel Snable, coming on the stream to talk to us about T4 templates. So it's going to be a two-part stream, and there's a few kind of things I wanted to tidy up on the text adventure. So it's going to be really, really short stream, just stuck at a couple of items which were left over from the last stream. So that's why we've got an unusual stream time. And I haven't got the day off. I'm actually in my lunch hour, which is why I'm trying to kind of clip along at a fair rate to get these things worked out. So we need to check our items out. So there's a couple of items we need to think about which aren't going to use up any space. So I don't think water should take any slots. So I'll set slots equals 0 for water, because water's carried inside another item, i.e. inside a bottle. So spent batteries of vase, that will, rug, rotting dead rod, poet chest, pint of water. Once again, slots equals 0 for the pint of water. It's got weight, but it's actually it's not taking up any kind of slots or space. We've got pillow and nugget. So the nugget itself actually is encumbering. So we don't really need to mess with that. That has its own downside to picking up. The mailbox is not portable. The leaflet, I think that won't take up any space because you could just fold it up and stick it in your pocket. So that's slot 0. The key, the jewellery, the grate itself is not mobile. The food rations will take up space. Dragon's tooth was also slot 0 for a single tooth of a dragon. Dragon, diamond, dead snake, crystal bridge, coins, cage, broken vase, broken glass bottle, bird. No, the bird won't take any space up either because it'll be inside the cage. Okay, and I think something like a pirate chest. I think that should be 2 slots. Because it's a big bulky item. Now you could argue put things inside it, but we're not going to allow them to do that because it's not it is a container actually, isn't it? They could put things inside. Well, okay, we'll work out something about that. Maybe if items are containerized, they become they have 0 slots. Maybe we can do that. Okay. So in the take command, we want to know. Actually, this will work out for containered items nicely, because we have to actually we count them separately from the inventory items. So let's go and get everything that the players got in their inventory and count up the used slots. So var used slots is going to equal player dot inventory dot get items dot select, and we want slots. So that's how many slots have been used up, and we'll define up here we'll make it, what's the best way of doing it? Currently we'll make it a private constant, but I think we might need to make some of these variables expose them. Yeah, the T4 stream I hope is going to be really interesting. So it'll be a 2-parter on consecutive Mondays is the plan currently, and we'll start off simple and try and get to a moderately complicated scenario where T4 can help, and it's going to be around about databasey kind of stuff at least to begin with, and we'll see where it takes us. We may get, maybe if there's enough interest, we may grow and have more streams on T4 templating, but we're going to have a kind of a basic introduction to T4, and then we're going to try and have an advanced or an intermediate kind of scenario where T4 templating and code generation can help. So we're going to say, shall we say 10 slots or 7 slots? Let's start off with 7. So max slots 7. Okay, so we've got a take all command. Okay, so we're going to pick up items. And picking up contained items is fine because they go inside their container. So I used those slots that we got available of that. So pick up item. So here we want to know if it's, so we're adding an item here. So here we want to make a check. So we want to say that if an item, if so this is going to be a public value. And I think we want use slots to be public as well. We'll make that a property, shall we? Then we can use it outside of the class. We can interrogate the take command. So we're selecting our, and we want the sum of that. So that should be an integer, yeah. Okay. So down here in, we want to say that if used slots, is it slots used? My memory is terrible. Use slots. Plus an item dot slots is greater than, what did I call it, max slots. We'll say if it's less than or equal max slots, then we'll carry on and do that. Oops, it was a B that I wanted to press at that point to put braces around that. So what's it complaining about? Object reference required. This is static, is it? I don't think we want that to be static. I think it was created as static by default. It's certainly not a static method. Okay, so if the use slots plus the new item is still going to keep us within our max slots, then we pick up the item. And that should do. That should take care of both of those things. And contained items are fine because we've now decided that contained items don't take any space up in your inventory because they're inside another item. So that really works. If you put all your treasure inside the pirate chest and carry it, then that's a pretty good tactic. Okay, so what we need to do then is say so we've got pick up item, pick up contained items. At the end of both of those, we want to do a check. So if use slots is equal to max slots, then we're gonna say to the player, you're not going to be able to carry anything else. You have reached your maximum carrying capacity. Let's see if that builds. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll stick a breakpoint at that point there, and we'll run our game and see what happens. I'm really quite interested that I've got 6 viewers at this time, 1:30 in the afternoon in the UK. It's very interesting, because is there an appetite for kind of a lunchtime stream of this kind? So it's interesting that I kind of struggle to find good times to stream when other big streamers aren't actually on air. So yeah, it's interesting that there seems to be some people who want to watch. That's great. Okay, so over to Slack. Let's start the adventure. The leaflet we said takes no space up, so no point in picking that up. We'll go in. We'll take all. So here we should be 0 in our use slots, which we are, so we can continue. And we pick all those items up. Friday evening, just relax. Oh, is it Friday evening for you, Dakarel? So yeah, it's good if it's Friday evening for you, because that means there is a kind of a market for this kind of time. And Cody Beard, you're working from home. Yes, I'm working from home as well, so I can just pop downstairs and do a quick kind of 45-minute or so stream. How long have we been going so far? 31 minutes, 32 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so we've got some items here. Now we've got we're going to light the lamp, because we're going to need that. And I'm still going to do the lamp on command at some point. And then we're going to use our testing command, which is our teleport command. And this will give us an axe, some coins, and a diamond, and teleport us to, I think it's the debris room. So let's do that. So we're in the debris room. I'll have a look here. So there's a black rod. So we'll take the rod. So here, when we come through here, we should have we've used 6 slots, so we've got 1 slot available to us, and that's going to take us up to 7 slots. So if we step through, we grab the rod, and we're going to pick up. Oh, okay, we haven't got to the pickup item yet. Pick up item, let's step inside there, and that's true, so we pick up the item. So I think we can set used slots to be automatically calculated here, so we'll do that. But let's make sure we get to it. So we're carrying the black rod. So now we should be able to go west, and we should be able to come to a point where there's a cage. Oops. Go west. So we're in the bird chamber. Oh, I think the cage is earlier on, so we'll just look. Yeah, there's the bird singing cheerfully. We need to get east again, I think. Another one that I've got on my list is to be able to just say east or E to move, rather than just say go. The cobble crawl, I believe there should be a cage in here. There's a wicker cage. Let's try and pick that up. Did we get a message saying we'd reached our capacity? We didn't. Interesting. Okay. The use slots is still coming back as 6. Okay. Oh, it's 7 now. Okay, good. Over here. Did we pick the item up? It reached our maximum capacity, so let's have a quick look. We'll do inventory command. Yeah, we've hit a breakpoint. So we've got the key, the lamp, bottle, blah blah blah. And if we do a look, we shouldn't have the cage. And we've still got the cage. So whether 7 is the right limit. So we've got the glass bottle, the lamp, which isn't taking any space. We've got the iron key. Maybe the iron key shouldn't take any space up, but the axe, the coins, the diamond, and the rod certainly do. The food does as well. And maybe the iron key can just slip into your pocket, and we ignore it. So we'll do that change. So okay, let's stop it here. Now this property, used slots, we should be able to. We need to pay a player passed in order to calculate it, so we can't do what I kind of hoped and just fat arrow it up here. Okay, that's fine. The key. Let's say the key doesn't take any space up. So now we've given the player a slightly a kind of a logistical problem. Let's up that to 8. I'm just guessing at the moment. Copper Beardy, this time of day, UK afternoon. A few dev streams are on, and the ones that are tend to be non-English speaking. Really okay. So you never know. Maybe it's something I could try and exploit to have something not necessarily all the time, but some kind of semi-regular stream around about this time. So we've given now the player a bit of a logistical kind of puzzle as well, because I've only got limited number of carrying slots, and some of the items are going to be larger items. We've also now, because we've said that we're not going to count containers as using up space. Actually, that's a pretty good point. We need to test that at some point. I can't do it very easily at the moment. I think get items. Yes, get items only get items you're carrying. So you should be able to put all your treasures and things in the pirate chest if you get that, and carry that out, and then you've upped your carrying capacity, which is quite nice. Yeah, so the logistical puzzle is really needing to manage your inventory a bit, because otherwise you're just picking up everything you come across, which isn't really, there's no kind of tactical puzzle going on there. Okay, so pick up contained items. Yeah, I do believe they don't take up any they don't get included in your get items from your inventory, because they're actually inside other items. Good, that works. So what else did I have on my list I wanted to cover? How long have we been going? Nearly 40 minutes. So I think I'm pretty much at the point where. So there's a couple of things that I need to think about. There's still the problem we've got of the lamps, having a large number of lamps available for multiplayer, but only one per player. So I haven't come across a good idea for that yet, but that's still kind of percolating in the brain. The other thing is a conditional move. Currently, in our when we move between locations, if I bring a location like Dusty Cave up, you can see we've got this thing called player move, and it says that you can go if you type down or hole, then you will move to the complex junction from this location, and if you type bed quilt, you will go to the bed quilt cave from this location. And there's one here we haven't actually built the destination cave yet. We've also got a random move. If I go to bed quilt, for example, we've got the concept of a random move. So here's random move. So if you choose to go north, in this case, I think it is, then you could end up at any one of these locations. So the reason they're repeated is that's the kind of frequency or the probability of going there. So it says you've got a if you roll a 1 on the dice, you get a bed quilt, a 2 bed quilt, 3 bed quilt, 4 low room, 5, etc. Secret junction. So that's how we do random moves. And random moves will really kind of mess up your mapping, and that's what they're supposed to do. It's really old school, this. I don't know if anyone's played kind of Dungeons and Dragons back in the day, but one of the things that D&D Dungeon Masters did in those days, they didn't draw the map for you like a lot of them do now, or even give you a player version of the map. They actually had you mapping the dungeon as you went through it, and they would throw all kinds of mapping puzzles in there to throw you out. So they would have imperceptible gradients going down or up, so you changed levels without knowing it, and then your map got screwed up by doing that. Or they would have trapdoors which dropped you down an indeterminate number of levels in the dungeon, or they'd have like zigzags and branches, and just to try and confuse the mapper, because there's always one person was the mapper in the party, and they would have to kind of work out from the descriptions the dungeon master gave what the map looked like. So this is really what this is about. It's making it more difficult because you don't know where you've come from, or where you've gone. You're in Bedquilt, you go north, and you're still in Bedquilt after going north. But other times you end up in the secret junction or the low room or whatever. So that's what that's about. But there's another kind of move that I'm thinking about, which is what I'm calling a conditional move or a restricted move, where you've got to satisfy certain criteria in order to make the move to the destination. And the one place where it's used in Colossal Cave, which is the adventure we're kind of modelling here, is there's a very narrow passageway. And in this narrow passageway, you can only move through if you're carrying no items whatsoever, including your headlamp. So I need to figure out a way of actually having. We can do that particular condition relatively quickly and easily by just having it hard coded. So there's a narrow move, and it does that. The difficulty is that these moves are defined at the point the room is created. At that point, there aren't any players, so you can't within the player move or the iPlayer move interface. You can't actually get at the current player. So it's an interesting problem. So I'm still thinking about that, but that's one of the things we do need to do to implement that kind of concept. What else am I thinking? So that's the tight room. There's actually a very famous puzzle in the Colossal Cave called the Plover puzzle, which relies on this narrow squeeze, where you've got to drop all your items to get through. So that is something we need to take care of. Now, what I'm planning to do for the next couple of weeks, next Monday is going to be our T4 template stream. Wednesday we'll be back onto doing some small things on the text adventure. I do want to try and add some more rooms because we're kind of getting to the point where I need to have a level 2 and need to look at some of the problems like the plover problem and the troll bridge, because there's a nasty troll down here who demands all your treasure. And then the following Monday will be T4 part 2. And then we'll go back on the next Wednesday, probably to a little bit more on text adventure. But I'm still working through planning the next project. And the next big project on stream will be a C++ project, and it will be creating synthesizer plugin. So we're going to create a whole range of different types of synthesizers in C++, and they're going to be professional grade synthesizers. Not like the toy synthesizer we created with .NET Core 3 and NAudio. And we're going to use some professional algorithms, which we've already got kind of done for us. So the source I'm using has got a header file with all the algorithms already kind of worked out. So we don't have to kind of go through the heavy maths, the Laplace transforms, Z transforms, and all that kind of stuff. They're all kind of hidden away, but we'll crack open the header file and look at some of the functions, and we'll talk a little bit about the theory. But the idea is we're going to create a whole range of synthesizers which will work inside a DAW, a digital audio workbench, such as Reaper or Ableton. I've got both of those, and we'll be able to experiment with some different kind of types of synthesizers. So we're going to actually create a sampling synthesizer where I've got some samples, I think, of pianos and stuff. So we can try and create something that sounds like the instrument it's meant to be. So that's the kind of audio programming kind of part 2 streams, which I'm still working on. There's an awful lot to kind of learn, and I'm trying to get up to speed with a lot of the theory. So at least if we get some people in who are digital audio experts, then I'm not going to be a complete tyro, but I will be a beginner on them. So that's the kind of plans for the next major project. And if anyone's got any suggestions for other kind of big projects, kind of the 9-10 stream projects that we've done in the past, that'd be great to drop into Discord and tell me about them. So thank you very much for that follow that I had, by the way. So that's very, very kind. If there's anyone else in the in chat who isn't a follower, then please do press that follow button. You'll get notified that way of any extra streams I do. And I've also got a Twitter account. It's on the screen at the moment, but here's in chat. I've also got a YouTube channel where all my videos get archived to, and that's there. And my Discord, which you're very welcome to come across and join, is here. So without much further ado, our 45-minute limit, we're just going over that. So let's just go and see if there's anyone we can raid. I'm not sure if there will be, but we'll try it. Let's go and have a look over in Twitch. So apologies for a very short impromptu stream. We got Pixel Logic will go there, I think. Let's see, make sure they're still on. Yeah, they are. So let's go over to Pixel Logic and see what they're up to. So thanks very much for joining, and we're going to raid Pixel Logic now. So I'll see you all on Monday for our T4 templating stream with our special guest. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting. So I hope you can find the time to join. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you then.